Hey everybody, and welcome back to some more Oxygen Not Included. We're back here with the Impenetrable Gang. It's Cycle 11, and things are actually going pretty well here. We got Stinky doing some research, we've got Frankie generating power, we got Hassan doing a little bit of cleaning up, moving some of the debris and storing things in our storage bins over here. And for the most part, as I said, things are going pretty swimmingly here. Oxygen is good, temperature is good, power is okay, research is being complete. And I believe we have just unlocked the deodorizer here, allowing us to remove polluted oxygen from the air entirely, which is, of course, what we're going to do. We're going to throw one of these guys down over here by our composter, and, of course, what will eventually be a pool of polluted water that we will filter at some point in the future. But for now, we're just going to filter the polluted oxygen out of the air, hopefully, before it hits the rest of our duplicants. And so what I want to work on in today's episode, or at least for the start of today's episode, is food. Because although in the last episode it kind of seemed like food was doing okay, I don't really think that we're on a sustainable track for food right now. And the reason for that is that between episodes, I was sent a Oxygen Not Included food calculator, a really nifty little website that I will show you right about now. It looks like this. And essentially, it gives you an idea of how much food you're going to need for any given number of duplicants. And it's a really handy tool. I'd recommend you check it out if you are playing the game yourself. I'll put a link in the description down below. But for example, if we go ahead and change our number of duplicants to 3 in the top left here, none of our duplicants have a bottomless stomach, which is fantastic, very nice. And we are playing on a regular hunger difficulty. And so right now we are growing meal lice over here, and you'll see that for 3 duplicants to survive for a day, they need 3,000 kilocalories, 1,000 kilocalories per person. That requires 5 meal lice per day, which equates to 15 meal lice plants if we have dupe harvest enabled over here. If we turn dupe harvest off, I thought this was interesting. I wasn't actually aware that the game worked this way, but apparently if you don't have a duplicant harvesting any food, the plant will grow, and then eventually, after a couple of cycles, the meal lice will just fall off the plant, and the plant will start growing again on its own. And so you can kind of have the plant auto-farm itself. It just takes much longer, and you can see here we'd need 35 mealwood seeds in order to feed all 3 of our duplicants if we didn't actually actively harvest the mealwood. But with dupe harvest on, you can see that we need 15 mealwood seeds growing in order to continually feed our duplicants and to keep them actively fed. And that's like just keeping the status quo, right? That we're not gaining food, we're not losing food, we're just staying smack bang on the amount of food required to feed all of our duplicants. We need 15 meal lice. And so heading back over into the game here, we currently only have technically 5 mealwood, I guess, here, but one of them is not growing because of the temperature. So really we only have 4 mealwood growing, which is definitely not enough to sustain our colony. I think the reason that we actually have more calories than we started with in the last episode is simply due to the amount of exploration that we did last episode. We broke a lot of brick, we did a lot of digging, we probably found a lot of food, a lot of seeds that we could then eat and continue to keep our duplicates going. But as I mentioned, that is not going to be sustainable as we go on through and continue our colony. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dig out this massive clump of rock in the middle of the screen here. And going back to research real quick, I would love to do one of the first pieces of farming research, which I believe gives us this guy right here, the farm tile, which is not strictly necessary. You can get away with using the planter boxes, and there are certain benefits to using the planter boxes over the farm tile, specifically in the realm of airflow. But the benefit to the farm tile is that you can fit more plants in a smaller area because you don't need a full block dedicated to just the planter. You grow the plant directly into the floor. So for example, right now, this setup that we got going on over here requires 1 tile for the planter box and then 2 tiles to actually grow the mealwood to full height. So they need 3 blocks of space to grow this mealwood. Whereas, for example, if we were to use the planter tiles, what we could do is, for example, we could have tiles here, 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 and here, for example, and we can fit 16 mealwood plants in this much smaller space, right? Whereas previously, if I go ahead and clear these out real quick, we would have had to go 1, 2, 3, here, 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 and here, which takes up significantly more space, right? So I'm going to have this dug out here. We're still doing research. We're still making power. That's all fine. Hassan can go ahead and dig this out in his free time here. We are almost certainly definitely going to take the next duplicant that we get. Again, I would really love for them to be a creative duplicant so that we can get, you know, just better paintings, better sculptures, better everything when we start to make things that reduce stress and increase morale. But I will take anybody. We can train somebody to be creative if that's what it takes. Not ideal, but, you know, possible if that's what it takes in the long run. I will also build a ladder down here. This is the ladder that we're going to have. We're going to get rid of this ladder fairly soon here, pretty much as soon as we've dug all of this out here. And then hopefully by that time the research is done. Stinky can go and help Hassan clearing that out, and we can put all of our farm tiles down. And thankfully, again, it's quite easy to expand to include that 5th duplicant. We only need 20 millwood seeds growing, which means we can just go one more layer down, taking it from 16 to 20. And so just as a rough outline here, I would like... I'm not going to draw the whole tiles here, and I'm actually going to set these to a very low priority because I don't want them to actually build these tiles. So I'm going to set them to priority 1 real quick, but I want them here, 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 and I think also maybe here, because that way we get 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 millwood seeds, which should for now be enough to perfectly sustain a colony of 4 people, not gaining any food, not losing any food. We could gain food if we wanted to try and kind of store excess amounts of food, but really until we get refrigeration, I don't necessarily think that that's something that we should really be too worried about. We do have, of course, our ration box down here that is submerged in carbon dioxide, and so it is true that the food won't really decay even if we do have a large amount of it, but for the time being, we don't really want to have our duplicates spending too much time harvesting when they can spend a lot of that time doing other stuff here. So you can see right now that our compost is emitting polluted oxygen. We might even see a little bit of it around here, but I think that our deodorizer here should be more than up to the task of getting rid of it all, and hopefully we will see our duplicants drop some polluted water over into this pond over here fairly soon as well, which would be also pretty nice. Also, in the meal preparation research, we do get a mess table and an egg cracker. The egg cracker I'm less interested in, but the mess table allows us to actually make a mess hall, which is essentially just another room that we can use to increase the morale of our duplicants. But now that the research is done, I'm going to go ahead and cancel these tiles here, and we can actually go and replace them with the tiles that we actually want to use, these farm tiles. We're going to go ahead and make those out of dirt for now because that's all we've got, and essentially it's going to look a little something like this. Now, as I mentioned before, not as good for airflow as the planter boxes here, but we've got significant amounts of space either side of them. You know, we've got 3 tiles here on this ladder and then 3 tiles here with the other ladder, and so that should be more than enough to allow all of the carbon dioxide to sink and all of the oxygen to rise. And you can see it's doing a fantastic job right now throughout the base. That does remind me, I do think I will probably put down an algae terrarium close to the bottom of my base here. This guy also produces oxygen, much like the oxygen diffuser, and it also produces oxygen using algae, much like the oxygen diffuser, but it uses less algae. You'll see that this one uses a large amount of algae, and this guy just uses algae. The added benefit is that it also removes some carbon dioxide, and a little bit of carbon dioxide can be good for us. You saw before we used it for sterilizing our food, but in the long run, as we get more carbon dioxide, it's going to build up, our base is going to fill up with carbon dioxide, and so eventually that is something that we do want to get rid of. And so I think I will go ahead and probably put one like here and here for the time being. And once we get these down, I think they do produce less oxygen than the oxygen diffusers, but I think these might be enough to keep our base going at least for a little while here. And you may have also noticed at the bottom there, it gains a 10% efficiency boost for being in direct light, which is where the lamps that we made in the last episode, or that we unlocked, I should say, in the last episode actually come into play. And I think I might just get rid of this ration box and move it somewhere else for now. Like, potentially we could just put it right here on this little ledge that we've got. We've not really built anything here just yet. Which reminds me, people pointed out in the comment section that this oxalite here, which we left because we didn't want to break it because we want to get the oxygen from the oxalite, but we did want to break it because we want the water to move. Apparently this won't go away because it won't emit its remaining oxygen until it's not submerged in water. Like right now, it's completely covered in water and thus cannot emit any of the remaining oxygen in it. You'll see it's emitting 0 grams per second. And so I believe all we need to do here is just mop up the liquid above it. I think there might be a bit much water in here, and so even if we do mop this up, I think more water might flow over, but we can just keep mopping it, and eventually that will go away. And what mopping up is going to do is it's going to generate bottles of water, at which point, if we really wanted to, we could put down another bottle pump, presumably right about here, to pump water down into this body of water over here for future use. But I'm not going to worry about that too much just yet. I'm hoping this will potentially clear that up. Yeah, there we go. You'll see a bottle of water has been produced. The oxalite is pumping out oxygen again. This will go ahead and break itself down. Eventually, the water will flow down. We can mop up the whole area, and everything should be good. I would love if you guys would dig all this out. That would be fantastic. And then what is the priority of the tiles? The priority is 1, because I set it to 1 earlier when I was trying to demonstrate where I wanted my tiles to be. I no longer wish this to be priority 1. I would like you guys to get this done as fast as is humanly possible. There are 3 shine bugs here at the top of our base. That is a crazy number of shine bugs, but I think it is going to have, a really positive effect on the decor bonus that our duplicates get while they're working up here, which is just fantastic. Total decor 105, which is just insanity, really. And so once they finish building all these tiles here, the next thing that I would like them to do is go ahead and build probably a mess hole, which I think for now I'm going to put right about here. The other thing that I like, by the way, about this 5 rows of 2 tall tiles for the mealwood is that it works out really nicely with the 4 tile wide rooms that we normally have. For example, we can have another room right about here, and then the final room will go right about there. So eventually, in the long run, it actually like evens out and is perfectly in line with the rest of the base, despite the fact that these levels here are not in line on their own. If that makes any sense. But these are going to be our next couple of floors. I am going to go ahead and cancel these 2 for the time being, because we only need this one really. We'll put another door here, and we'll make this into our mess room, which is hopefully where our duplicates are going to eat going forward. And then at that point, we really need to look at what research we're going to do next. Coal power is intriguing. It frees up one of our dupes who would usually spend his time on the wheel to actually go ahead and do other tasks, which is great. But I think I might actually go for the sanitation quest line and look into setting up like an actual bathroom with lavatories as opposed to the outhouses, potentially even a shower, which can improve morale even further and remove germs, and then a sink, which is just a more technically advanced version of the wash basin that we have right now. And essentially what we can do with all of those is automate what we have our duplicates doing right now, in that we can have the water pumped from the body of water using the actual water pump. This guy that we have not unlocked yet, is it? Oh yeah, no, we haven't done plumbing yet, but by selecting sanitation, he will do both plumbing and sanitation here. But we unlock the water pump. The water pump is placed in here. It does require a constant supply of power, but it will automatically pump that water out into pipes. We can then have that automatically piped up into the sink, and then from there, we can have the polluted water that comes out of the sink automatically piped and dumped out over in our little pool of polluted water over here. So it essentially just saves up time and gives our duplicates the ability to do other things as opposed to manually moving water and polluted water all around the base. Now, before we do that, we do need to finish up what we've got going on here. Thankfully, we do have 19 mealwood seeds in our storage, so we can go ahead and select that, copy settings, and then just paste that to all of these. We are 1 mealwood shy, but when we go ahead and deconstruct these guys over here, that should give us that extra 4 mealwood seeds, enough to plant all of these. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and set these to a priority 6, meaning that hopefully our duplicates will go ahead and harvest these whenever possible, or plant them if they need planting wherever possible. And we do have a new duplicate available for printing. And finally, we've got May over here on the right with +7 creativity. She has no taste, which increases her food morale bonus. This duplicate's dull senses could barely tell the difference between a stuffed berry and cardboard. A very nice bonus to have there. She's also a yokel, which means this duplicate isn't the brightest star in the solar system, and she cannot do researching errands. That is fine. We've got Stinky, is it doing research right now? And so we don't really need May to be doing any research whatsoever. We're going to take her, print her out. Perfect. We do need an extra bed. I'll go ahead and throw that down over here. Like so she can actually sleep somewhere. And right now she's not doing anything. Hopefully she will do something soon is the priority of my... Yeah, these... Okay, I didn't actually want these on priority 1. Let me change those to priority 6. I do want these algae terrariums to be built at some point. And also, I would love for these to be deconstructed at some point as well. For now, she's just going to sleep on the floor, which is not really what I'm after. You can see here the shine bug is keeping her awake, which is not great. Instantly, her stress has gone up to 3. She's instantly just become the most stressed out person in the base, which is not the best. Just go to sleep, my friend. Oh, the bed's not made for her. I see. Okay, we'll make that a priority 8. And hopefully she can get that done in the morning. You know what? I think what we can do here is take advantage of the schedule. Now, this is something that I've not played around with. It's something I've not used previously. But I'm kind of thinking, what if we just had May work the night shift? Like if we add a new schedule and we move May down to this second schedule like this, could we then have May working during the evening like this, and then have her sleep at just like some point during the middle of the day. I don't know if this is perfect by any means. I'll move for downtime over here as well, and get rid of this time downtime over here. This is, by the way, another way that you can increase morale. You'll see right now downtime morale is at +1. If we add more downtime, the morale goes up, the more downtime that our duplicates have. And so if the morale does get low, you can just add more downtime to kind of mitigate that. But for now, I think this is probably kind of fine. I'm just replicating this setup, but offset a little bit. And so I'm going to go with that. And hopefully she will wake up and start getting some work done. Nice. Cool. Okay. I think eventually we want to maybe have like half of our duplicates work days, half of our duplicates work nights. I don't know if there's any kind of like negative to that, if there's any like stress downside to having some duplicates working during the day and some working at night. Like, for example, I think it's possible that the duplicates who are sleeping could have their sleep interrupted by duplicates running around, especially if they run through the barracks here. But I'm not too sure. I'm completely guessing at that point. Nevertheless, all of our duplicates are awake right now. We do have new skill points available to distribute, which is fantastic. We will go ahead and push Stinky forward in the world of research, giving him +2 science and geographical analysis. Stinky is interested in field research and will receive a morale bonus for learning it. Go for it, Stinky. And then we've also got May here, who is going to learn the art fundamentals. She can make crude artwork quality, and she gets +2 to creative as well. Fantastic. And so one of the next things I do want to research in that case then, after we research sanitation, is I would love to unlock some more in the decor section, this one here. If we can get artistic expression and then maybe even fine art and high culture and Renaissance art after that. A lot of this stuff is new. I've really only played with the blank canvas and the large sculpture. I haven't seen any of this stuff or any of these last two since I last played. They've all been added since then, but they all look cool. They're going to make our base look a lot nicer than just stone and tile and ladders, which is real nice. And of course, they have the added benefit of making our dupes feel better as well, which is real nice. So almost all of the farm tiles have been planted. Our food is going down. We're at 5,700 kilocalories right now, which is not ideal. Hopefully, we get our first harvest of the new mealwood seeds before we run out of food, although I'm not too optimistic just yet. The oxalite has finally burst, and so the water is disappearing. That is fine. Everyone's so busy doing everything right now that nothing is getting done. Unfortunately, like the algae terrariums, I think are a priority 6, and they're still on the back burner, which is fine. You know, our duplicates, they got stuff to do. I'll speed things up just a little bit here so we can move through things. This tank on the wash basin is almost full of polluted water, and so almost a whole episode later, we might actually get use out of our bottle emptier here. We should definitely go ahead and clear this out. I guess I want to dig that, right? I don't want to, no, cancel. I want to dig this. I think I accidentally clicked delete on the box there, which is not what I wanted to do. I just want to break this this piece here. The algae terrariums have been given the algae, which is good. So they are producing 44 grams per second of oxygen. They are in the Shinebug's light, and so I think they will produce more oxygen whilst the Shinebug is here. Of course, ideally, we want to put down some artificial light so that the amount of oxygen they produce is not directly tied to just hoping that we have a chance bug, a Shinebug even, in this area. But compared to these guys are emitting 166.7 grams per second. But as people did point out to me in the comment section, once you hit a pressure of 2,000 grams, the diffusers here will just stop working altogether. And so you can see right now we're at about 1,800 grams of pressure. That's how many grams of oxygen there are in the air around these diffusers. And so once it hits 2,000, they will just automatically shut off so that you don't over-pressurize the air in your base. So that's good. They don't stay on all the time. And as you can see, they're doing a fantastic job. The air is very breathable throughout the entirety of the base. And now that we've got these guys down here, we'll slowly but surely start to take out some of the excess carbon dioxide at the bottom here, which is also fantastic. I would love to sweep up some of the excess debris that's kind of all over our farms here, so if we could get that moved over into our storage bins, that would be fantastic. And research is complete, which is good as well. Let's go ahead and click on fine art, get that unlocked so we can start using May to her full potential. And then from there, I would also like to get rid of this ladder. Now, by default, they're just going to dig out this bottom bit first and then not dig out the rest. And so I think what I'm going to have to do is put in a little bit of tile like around here, just so they can actually reach all of the ladder and get rid of it. 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. And so hopefully they can reach all this here. Maybe. We are going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this body of water here, but that's fine. I will also actually, I mentioned it before, but I do want to double this up just to make sure that no matter what happens here, we don't end up breaking this. It's quite possible that they break it while doing this, because if they break this block, it might suddenly be the case that this is not strong enough to hold it and it bursts. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully this is just fine, but we'll see tomorrow morning. May's cleaning the toilets while everyone else sleeps. Thankfully, her stress has gone down, so everybody is at 0 stress once again, which is fantastic. We will speed things up here just to get through the night. We are very low on food. We're at 2,500 kilocalories, and so I think what I'm going to do temporarily is throw down a microbe musher right about here. The microbe musher allows us to make food, in some cases better food, but in some cases much worse food. The food that we're going to make for now is definitely going to be much worse food, but this is very much so only temporary until we get our mealwood sustainably growing, right? Once the first harvest comes in, we should have enough mealwood to keep our duplicants fed, hopefully indefinitely, until we work on better food and nicer food later on down the line. Our portal is telling me that we do have a skill available. Both Frankie and Hassan have both got upgrades available to them. I think I will go for grilling 2 here for Frankie, giving him +2 to his cuisine. And then for Hassan, I'm still quite tempted to give him hard digging, so he gets that +2 excavation and can mine very firm materials. This is something that's held us back a little bit so far. Like, we couldn't dig this block here because we didn't have the research. We couldn't replace this block here because nobody in our base could dig hard materials. And so now that we have that, hopefully this is doable. I'm going to cancel that because I don't want Hassan jumping into the water just yet. I really want him to stay as dry as possible. But now that we've got the microbe musher, you can see here that there's a couple of things we can make with our microbe musher. One is the mush bar, which is what we're going to make. And the mush bar is not good. It says an edible putrefied mud slop. Mush bars are preferable to starvation, but only just barely. The ingredients for mush bars are delicious. They are dirt and water. Dirt and water, that's what makes a mush bar. It gives you 800 kilocalories, and it has a -1 gristly quality. Lice loaf, I think I mentioned a little bit in the last episode. This is something you can make with your lice meal that you get from the mealwood here. Or meal lice even, that you get from the mealwood here. And essentially it's a way of increasing the number of calories that you get from your meal lice. So what you can do is you can combine 1,200 calories worth of meal lice with 50 kilograms worth of water to get 1,700 calories worth of lice loaf. So you get an extra 500 calories there by consuming 50 kilograms of water. It is something that we could do, but it's probably not something that I am going to do, simply due to the fact that water is a precious resource, especially clean water, and right now we've really only got these 2 bodies here, and although the water in the early game definitely seems like it could last forever, also we should get this guy going real quick. So mush bar, I would love you to create these forever, and I'm going to set this to our priority 8 for now, just so that somebody will come and actually start making mush bars. I guess really if we go over to, not skills, priorities, we want Frankie making the food. So I'll set him to a high priority there. He's going to come over and use the microbe musher. Hopefully he's a little faster than anybody else. He is going to have to go get water and whatnot, but that is fine. You can see that Hassan is on the job. He actually pulled the bottle of water that we had down here and stuck it in the microbe musher, which is good. The downside here, I'm going to pause real quick, is that if we use the dirt that we get from our composter in the making of our mush bars, there is a chance that we get food poisoning, because if we hover over this, I believe it doesn't have food poisoning just yet, but I did hover over it earlier. It did have food poisoning. And so what can happen here is you can get polluted dirt, for example, from the outhouse or from the wash basin, put that polluted dirt into the compost, thus turning it into regular dirt. And so it no longer emits polluted oxygen, but it does still have that food poisoning on it. And then if you use that food poisoning infested dirt to make mush bars, it will then infest your duplicates with food poisoning. Now, the good news is that your duplicates can kind of handle a little bit of food poisoning, much like in the real world. You know, the human body's okay with handling a little bit of some things. And so I think if they get a little bit of food poisoning, that's fine. It's really only when they get a lot of food poisoning that things start to become pretty bad. So it's not really something that we have to worry about too much. In the long run, if we wanted to make a lot of mush bars, and also, why are you not making mush bars? Do we not have dirt? Hold on. Organic is algae, cultivated soil. We've got 51 tons of dirt. Is there a good reason why you guys are not prioritizing these mush bars? We're down to almost 2,000 kilocalories. You guys are going to starve pretty soon here, and Frankie's just idling about because he's hungry. Frankie, could you please build these? I don't know why he's not building these. I feel like, oh, he can't get over. I see. Okay, my bad. My bad, Frankie. I'm sorry about that. My friend, let me go ahead and do, first of all, let's dig this up. And then let's also build this along like that so that someone can actually get over to here. There we go. I was wondering again why he was idling. It felt like there should be a reason that he's not doing anything. And it's also the reason that cooking's not getting done, because freaking the one person who's allowed to cook is stuck over on this island over here. Oh my goodness. All right, we'll also dig out this area. We do still want to make that mess hall over here. Frankie is finally making some mush bars, and this thing does kind of have a horrible animation that you're going to see in just a second. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at him squeeze that mush bar out of that machine. Oh, looks delicious, right? Absolutely delicious. Oh, there we go. But you can see we got 3,000 kilocalories there for a second, and so they don't love it, but they will eat it for now, and you can see that it is eating time, and so people are starting to eat the food. We're at 80 kilocalories, which is very, very low. And I don't know if you quite saw that there, but Hassan's facial expression probably gave you an idea of how much he enjoyed that mush bar that he just ate. But nevertheless, we are almost there. We're like 60%, 2/3 of the way towards getting our first batch of mealwood seeds, which is good. Until then, we will continue to use our micro musher to generate mush bars and keep our colony going. And whilst they sleep, I will look into setting out the outline for our pump system. So I'm going to set these to a low priority because for now I want them to focus on the things that they are currently focusing on. But for example, I would love to get a pump down probably right about here, right in the middle bottom of our, actually, I guess I'd prefer it be over here. Yeah, I'm going to cancel that. I think I'm going to try and break this block. I'm going to put another tile down right about there. If these tiles all got a low priority, they've got kind of low priority. I'm going to bump these up just a little bit so it gets done. But I'll probably put the pump right about here. And then we do have to decide where our showers and whatnot are going to be. I think I might just have them here to the left of the portal. That way we don't have to go too far with the pipes to actually get to our restroom. And of course, we don't want to take down the restroom that we currently have, because if the duplicate needs to go to the bathroom whilst we're building the new bathroom, accidents are going to happen and people are not going to be happy. And so we'll build a second restroom and then repurpose the original restroom for something else later on down the line. That's my plan, at least. I would also love, especially now that we've not got any food in this ration box, let's go ahead and just delete this and then put it back down over here for now, completely covered in water. And then if anyone gets a spare minute, if you could also just mop up this area over here to get rid of that water as well, that would be fantastic. That way nobody gets wet feet when they go to get food, which is really what we're after. And then once that's gone, we'll put 2 lamps there and everything should be good. I think research is still being done. It is. We've unlocked artistic expression, and so we could, for example, start sculpting now with Mare. But I think at the moment we do have slightly bigger fish to fry. Stinky really doesn't need to be on this wheel. I would much prefer if we had the coal generator going, so he could be doing research whilst the power was being generated for him. But again, for now, this is fine. We can't unlock the coal generator just yet because we need to do research to unlock the coal generator. And right now, you know, there's no one free to do the power thing, which is why Stinky's doing it. I'm actually not quite sure why Stinky's on the power generator. I guess it's for the micro musher, right? That makes sense. I don't think they're going to be able to get over to here. I think what I'm going to do is build tiles here and then delete these ones like this, just so they can get to this bit here, at which point we'll delete this tile. They are going to get a little bit wet, but that's okay. You'll see that we are finally getting food from our mealwood, so I will go ahead and lower the priority of the micro musher back down to 1 so that no one uses it going forward here. Also, actually, I'll just turn off the machine, so disable building. I'm not too sure if machines use power passively in this game. Like, I don't know if I left the machine not disabled, if that would consume some of the power that we have in our jumbo battery or not. I don't think it does, but I could be mistaken on that. Let me know in the comment section if you're an expert on oxygen not included power generation and usage. That would be really nice to know. We do have a new duplicate available for acquisition if we'd like. We've got Mima, we've got Ashcan, who I think we've seen both of these two before, but probably with different stats. And then other than that, we've got Briar Seeds and we've got Muckroot. Muckroot is 4,800 kilocalories, a seedless fruit with an unsettlingly bland aftertaste. Sure, I'll take the food. We're not super low on food now, so we're actually doing okay again, which is good. But having food is never a bad thing, so we'll go ahead and grab that. Why not? It's times like these where I kind of really wish we did have more duplicates, because it feels like nothing's getting done just because everybody is doing so much just to keep the base running at this point. Like, there's people making power, there's people doing food, there's people doing research, there's people cleaning toilets. Like, everything is kind of just maintaining, and we're progressing quite slowly because of the fact that we don't have duplicants free to do other things, which is really what we're trying to fix here with things like the pump. We can kind of stop having to worry about having a duplicant clean the bathrooms. We can hopefully eventually get a coal generator and stop having to worry about having a duplicant run on the power wheel over here. Stuff like that really makes it a lot easier for us to progress going forward. So I would very much so like that to become the case. We might end up annoyingly, you know, I'm going to cancel this. Please delete this here. This is like a priority 9 deletion, please. I would really like it if you built this tile first and then built this tile, not the other way around. Thank you. Oh, look at this. All of our meal lice coming in. We're at 16,000 kilocalories. Fantastic. I like it. We do have some polluted water down here for some reason. I am going to go ahead and set this guy to like a priority 7, so that if there's any polluted water in the base, they'll come and deposit that right away. You'll see it is emitting polluted oxygen at a rate of 17.2 grams per second, which is not really what we're after. And you can see right there, that little purple spot is polluted oxygen in our base, which is not a huge deal, but it's really not what we want. I would very much so prefer it if that polluted oxygen was deposited into the ground. They have finally taken care of the tile, so I'll go put that there, and then we'll go ahead and delete this one here as well. We'll set those to a fairly high priority of like 6. Get that done. And then once this is done, yeah, he's done that, we will go and put down our first pump right about there. All right. This is looking good, looking good. We're in no rush to clear this area out over here. I guess we're in a bit of a rush to build this platform out over here, just because this is where we want to put our new washroom eventually. I've made the mistake of setting my priority here to like 3. Let me quickly change that back so that default priorities are not 3 going forward. I would like default priorities to be 5 going forward where possible. 23,000 kilocalories is good. 0 stress and 0 sick duplicants is very nice indeed. Still no 0 germs over here, which is still good. We do have germs on the polluted water here, which is not great, but again, people will wash their hands on the way into and out of there, so that is fine. The polluted water is still sitting down here, which I don't love. Oh, we've not got this set. I'm sure we set that in a previous episode, but I guess not. Now they should. There we go. He took one from here as well and dumped it in. We've finally got some polluted water in our little pond over here. Let's delete this. And then, essentially, chat, we're going to have... I think we'll hold off on a shower for now. I think for the time being, I'll just put in 2 lavatories. I think 2 will be enough. I don't think we need a 3rd one just yet. But much like we had previously, under... Is it medicine? Yeah, medicine is a sink. So we'll do sink here. And then once we get some more metal, in our case copper, we'll put down the 2 toilets. We've got a load of metal over here on the left. So that is not something that we should really have to worry about too much. I'll dig out this metal for now, and hopefully that's enough, because really I don't want to have them going over the water, although I guess we could build some tile here just to get them over if we do end up needing it. But there's no huge rush on getting this going. I would like to get that lamp down, and you can see that we've been completing decor research because that has increased quite a bit there. I think 1 is fine. I would love a second one just to make it symmetrical. But for the time being, this is okay. We do have to hook that up with power, which is quite a long power wire, but nothing that we cannot handle. As always, we're getting ever more shine bugs all over the base. It might not be a terrible idea. Let me check the air over here. I was thinking it might not be a terrible idea to have like an airlock here, but at the same time, I think the deodorizer is doing a perfectly fine job. I will set his priority to 6. I believe he uses sand to actually diffuse the air. Let me check that real quick though. I might be lying there. No, yeah, uses sand to filter polluted oxygen from the air, reducing disease spread. Okay, so they do have to fill this guy up with sand every so often. What? Oh, I see why you did that. Okay, that's fine. Don't do that just yet, my friend. Actually, I know you don't like going in that polluted water, but I am going to ask you to go back in real quick so that you can do this. Where possible. I don't think they can reach these ones just yet, but he can definitely do this. I don't want the polluted water spilling back out into the rest of the base here. That would not be ideal. We've still got so much rubbish just throughout the base that needs to be tidied up and put back into our storage bins. He's taking care of that. That's good. I can lower the priority of that tile there. There's no rush for getting that done. I will set the priority of these to 7. I do want to get these guys actually built. The same is true for this guy down here. I would like to get that pump built at some point. And actually, whilst you're underwater, if you could also run these pipes up. Now, I think I'm probably gonna do this. How do I want to do this? I want the pipe, ideally, probably going up like this. So through the floor and then down the ladder. The question is, where do I want it to go across? It needs to connect up here somehow. And I don't know if I want it to go... You know what? For now, it's going to take more pipe, but I think for the time being, I'm just going to go all the way down into... Maybe not into the floor, maybe to here, because I think here is eventually where we're going to have our next floor. Let me check that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, here is going to be where our next... Like, eventually this is going to be tile here. Not yet, of course, but preparing for the future, we'll do this, and we'll do this. It's going to lower the decor of this area for now, but in the future, when that's under the tile, it should work out quite nicely, and this will probably end up just being like a big old solid block of tile. There's not really much space here to get much done. We don't need these tiles here either. These can definitely go at some point. We do have to export the water as well. We have to pump away the water from here simultaneously, and so I think what we want to have here is a liquid vent, which does require more metal, but we're gonna have the vent maybe right about here. We probably want to dig this a bit deeper so we can actually store more polluted water, because we're going to get quite a bit of it going forward. But then ideally we want to have just a pipe run across like this, and I don't know. I don't think we can have the pipes cross over each other. That would, at least that would make sense. You can't have the pipes cross over each other. I think we kind of have to do it like this and have this kind of go up and around like that. Again, it doesn't look the best, but that should get the job done. And eventually you won't be able to see these white lines. It'll just be pipes underneath. So they finally managed to get this pipe hooked up. This thing does also need power. I completely forgot. And so we are going to have to run wiring into the water there. Seems a little unsafe, I'm not going to lie. It does also require a constant 240 watts of power. And this guy over here only produces 400. And so really, we do need to start looking at the very start of the next episode into getting a better power source. We could just put down another wheel and have somebody else stand on that, but having 2 or even 1 duplicant spending all of their time on generating power seems very inefficient, so not really something that I want to do going forward here at all. The pipes have been built, which is good. I think we still don't have enough metal. We don't. We did dig out this metal over here, but still not enough. I'll dig this one out real quick, and I don't see any more easily accessible metal. I guess we could dig this out here as well. Grab some of that real quick, but I don't think we're gonna have enough to set up the toilets. We might have enough to throw a vent or 2 down, which could be useful. I did go ahead and build a tile over here so we can get to this metal in the next episode. Let's have a look at oxygen real quick. Yeah, our algae terrariums are cleaning up quite nicely. We could do some airflow tiles over here if we're going to make this into a mess hall. But you can see the carbon dioxide is slowly going down, despite the fact that we now have more duplicates in the base than ever, all pumping carbon dioxide into the base here. So the algae terrariums are getting the work done, which is fantastic. We've almost like tripled the amount of food that we started the episode with, which is great. And we do have another duplicate here available. 3,000 coal could be quite useful. Again, I don't think we're going to keep getting offered duplicates, so I'm in no rush to take these. There's not like there's a finite limit of them. For now, I'll take the coal, print that out. That'll help us with our coal generator in the next episode. We've now got 7.2 tons of coal ready to use, which is fantastic. The copper has been mined, and so maybe, just maybe, we've got what it takes to make a vent. We do. Fantastic. I do want to get this finished up here, so we'll do this, and I'm going to assume, yeah, we still don't have what it takes to make the lavatory, but that's fine. Next time we'll come back, we will dig out all of this metal over here, try and make a lavatory, and then replace this outhouse and wash basin setup that we've got with a new lavatory and sink setup, and then maybe we'll even make this the mess hall and do something else with this. I'm not too sure just yet, but for now, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's episode of Oxygen Not Included there. A bit of a slower episode, but as I mentioned previously, all of our duplicates are kind of doing essential work right now. We could potentially look into getting a 5th duplicate in the next episode. We would have to expand our mealwood farm out even deeper to get enough mealwood to take care of all of that. But it would also give us the ability to expand and build things much, much quicker going forward here. But that is a problem for future Isaac. For now, guys, if you did enjoy the video and you want to see more Oxygen Not Included, be sure to hit that like button. It really does help out a lot. Let YouTube know that you think this video is worth watching. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.